So I'd like everybody here to close their eyes right now and take a minute to visualize and think of their favorite moment with my mom. Whether it was funny or angry, whatever it is, just take a second to think while I tell you guys one of my favorite stories I've ever heard. As you guys know, Mom was a fantastic saleswoman. She was the top rep out of 120 people at her firm first year that she started, and she had to sell ad space to old guys in suits back in the 1980s. It was probably a pretty tough task, and I remember she told me the story of coming into this meeting with three guys from Toyota. She said, "Hey guys, this is not going to be like any other sales pitch you've ever seen." As she pulls out a box of Kleenex from her bag and a very bright red lipstick. And she says, "It's going to get hot, it's going to get sweaty, and by the end of it, you guys are going to hold up these white tissues and you're going to say, 'I surrender.' And when you hold them up, that's when I know that you're going to buy from me." These guys looked at her like, what the hell is this, girl saying to us? She wrote on the napkins, on the tissues, "I surrender." And guess what? At the end of it, they did. She made more money than probably any of me or my friends ever will, which I always love telling my friends. I'm so proud of her as my mom. And, it was really tough to see somebody who could sell anything, who had the skill set, and yet she couldn't beat cancer. But it doesn't mean that she didn't win, because, I don't know, Mom didn't know this, but I'm sure you guys know, the survival rates for stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer after 10 months, which is how long my mom made it, is 20%. So she won against that, and that's pretty amazing. She used to tell me that she wanted to grow old in this house. After we sold our first house, she never wanted to leave the house again. And when we were at the hospital, she said she wanted to go home, and I want to just say thank you to my dad and my family that we took her home, and it was a total crazy experience pulling her up the stairs. Stuff wasn't right, but that was typical for us, and we got her there. And, I was really sad that she wasn't going to be able to see all the things that we could do in our lives. And she wanted us to say, she said to me, "Are you going to take care of me when I'm old and gray?" She didn't make it to being old and gray, but she taught us these skills that we were able to use in her last day to get her home. Don't wait. That's what I learned from all of this, and that's something that I think, looking back at my mom's life, I learned from her. You don't want to have regrets. If you see somebody that you like, you see an opportunity, don't wait. And I want everybody here to really internalize that and try to honor her memory by not waiting. And I was at the airport flying back here. I was pretty tired. There was a snowstorm in Boston, and I sat down in a seat, put my stuff down. I come back. I realize I'm surrounded by the Harvard varsity women's softball team. And some pretty cute girls there. And I was, I'm tired, I don't know. And then, I just thought, what would my mom have done? She would have talked to them. So I started talking to them, and I had a great conversation, and it was awesome. I went up to the gate. They bumped me to the back of the plane. I'm sure you guys know my mom. She was never one to let an airport representative bump her anywhere. And so I went up to the guy, and I told him, "Hey, I need you guys to upgrade me." And it was tough for me to do that, but I thought that's what my mom would always have done. And the guy said, "Yeah, okay." and he bumped me up. I got an exit row. I think my mom would have been pretty proud of me, and I did tell her that. She was somebody that didn't want to play by the rules, that didn't want to accept defeat ever. She didn't want to accept defeat with the cancer. She didn't want to accept defeat when she was selling. She didn't want to accept defeat when I told her she had to stop going in my room when I was 23 and cleaning it up, waiting until I left the house. And in the end, I don't think that she accepted defeat. I think she got what she wanted, which was to be at home, surrounded by her family. And the night before she died, I spent with her to make sure that she got enough oxygen. And I'm really glad that I did that, because it kind of proved to me that she did give us these skills. As I was doing the math on the oxygen tanks, figure out, I guess, the hundreds of thousands of dollars they spent on my engineering education actually did pay off in the end. I used to get mad at her because she would always want to take a picture. Always. It would drive me crazy. And I never got it. And then finally, I realized as I was at home, Rachel said, 42,000, I think that's a low estimate. I don't know what the scholars will find, but it's probably 60 to 100,000 on some hard drive somewhere. And she was scared that we would forget her. And she left us with this gift. That is, I used to say, there is no way you could ever look at all these pictures, ever. What is the point of having all these photos that you could never look at all of them? And yet now, what we can do is we can go, and we never have to look at the same picture again. If we ever want to see her, we can just go and look and see a moment of her life. And I think that's a pretty amazing gift. She used to yell hi 3 times or 4 times every time she got home. Again, it would drive me crazy. And she would say to me, be careful, wear your helmet every time we went biking. I went with my dad last night. And at our house, we had a party last night for my mom. And, one of those times you're in an area and something is off, something is too quiet, and you're just like, something is missing. And as I told my dad later, it was her laugh. The machine gun laugh of my mom was missing. And I realize now, as I'm going through my day, there are all these little things that are missing, like her saying hi, her telling me to be careful, her laugh. Her heart rate was 130 beats per minute for at least the last 48 hours that she was fighting. And once I did some math, it's 375,000 heartbeats in 48 hours. That is truly an unbelievable fight. So she didn't give up. She fought for every one of those 375,000 heartbeats with us as we schlepped her up the stairs and we got her home. And I'm proud of her for doing that. Alfred Hitchcock's last words were, "One never knows the ending." Mom didn't know the ending, and she was scared about that because she didn't know what was going to happen when she was gone. And I look out at all these people here. I mean, really, there are people in the street watching this on a freaking television screen. It's like the Super Bowl, right? Like, it's unbelievable. And we don't know the ending either, because we don't know the value of the connections of these people. We don't know what's going to happen with $132,000 my mom raised in 2 weeks for cancer research. We'll never know who she affected and what her ultimate contributions to society were. And it's great to say that she was this amazing person, which she was, and she was funny, and she went after it. I think the larger story is her effect on the world is so large as to be unknowable. I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon because my mom would be saying, you're going late. You got to get with the program. David Eagleman is a neuroscientist, and he wrote in one of his books, there are 3 deaths. The first death is when your body stops. The second death is when you're consigned to the grave. And the third death is when your name is said for the last time. The first death happened in our home. The second death will happen soon here. But we don't know the ending of when the last death will come. And we can look at all these people and know, I'd put my money on, it's going to be a long, long time from now. Shauna asked me to say some lyrics from a James Taylor song, Fire and Rain, which was one of my mom's favorite songs. It used to drive me, again, crazy listening to this as a kid all the time. And we played it. And now I actually really appreciate it because, as you guys will hear, it's pretty meaningful. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times that I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. You always think that you have the plan and you can fly home and this person will be there. And after today, I don't know if I'm ever going to see her again. But I do know that everything that she was is going to live on with me, with everybody here. And everybody has done such a great job with my dad working a full-time job and also getting my mom every single thing that she needed, very particularly. The blankets had to be perfect. We had to change their blankets on her bed to make sure they were the softest cotton. And as I told my dad when we went up biking yesterday, tomorrow is going to be different. Life is going to be different. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be bad. So, I love you, Mom. You did a great job. And I hope that you know that.